Hello, and thank you for joining me for this brief tour through the early history of University Heights. My name is Kristin Harms, and I'm president of the University Heights Historical Society. Like many of you, one of the many reasons I love living in University Heights is our significant history, which really gives me a greater appreciation of the events and the people who have helped shape our community and really makes me proud to live here. I have lived in UH for over 30 years and volunteered for the Historical Society for 8 years. The University Heights Historical Society is a nonprofit 501c3 organization operated by the University Heights Community Development Corporation and is run solely by volunteers. There are no paid staff. So all donations are tax deductible, and 100% of your donations are used toward expert fees such as historic reports and communication expenses like web hosting, email software, graphic design, and printing. New members of the University Heights Historical Society receive a free copy of our new self-guided walking tour of the Valle Vista Terrace Historic District, which I will talk about later in today's presentation. Before I begin, I would like to acknowledge a few of the individuals and organizations that have contributed content or photos to this presentation, including Alex Bevel, historian for the University Heights Historical Society, Save Our Heritage Organization, the San Diego History Center, the SDSU Library Digital Collections, and Nancy Wormington. The early history of University Heights must really be put into the broader context of San Diego history and urbanization. Until 1919, most passengers and freight arrived in San Diego by ship. San Diego is not connected to the transcontinental rail system until 1885 and had no direct connection to the eastern United States until 1919. Shown here is in 1890 is the SS Orizaba, docked at the wharf at the foot of Fifth Avenue, which ran regular service between San Diego and San Francisco. Once passengers disembarked at the wharf, a horse-drawn streetcar would take them up Fifth Avenue to the Gaslamp District and nearby resort hotels. As San Diego residents began to build homes just east of downtown San Diego, the streetcar followed into the neighborhoods of Sherman Heights, Golden Hill, Grant Hill, and Stockton. The history of University Heights begins in 1887, during San Diego's first period of large-scale urbanization. After the final link between San Diego and the Transcontinental Railroad was completed in 1885, several speculative real estate developments were begun in San Diego, including University Heights. University Heights was subdivided in 1887 by the College Hill Land Association, a syndicate of individuals owning land in the proposed subdivision. The drawing point of the new subdivision was to be a branch college of the University of Southern California, which would be located at Campus Avenue and Normal Street, where the San Diego Unified School District is currently located. Lot sales in University Heights began in December 1887, and construction of the university began soon thereafter. On August 6th, 1888, the first official subdivision map 558 was filed with the San Diego County Recorder, delineating the University Heights subdivision, which was bounded on the north by the rim of Mission Valley, on the south by University Avenue, on the west by today's 163 freeway, and on the east by today's Boundary Street, which at the time was the boundary between City Pueblo land and ex-Mission San Diego land. Construction efforts, however, were brief, with lagging lot sales due to an economic downturn, and by the early 1890s, construction efforts permanently ceased, leaving the college property vacant until the turn of the century. Also in 1888, the Electric Rapid Transit extended its electrified cable car from downtown San Diego up 4th Street to University Heights. By then, University Heights had just been established by the College Hill Land Association, and streets were being graded, water and sewer service was established, and lots were offered for sale. However, the ERT experienced difficulties right from the get-go, including frequent shutdowns, various alterations and repairs, an oil shortage, and legal battles. And so by 1889, the line closed. Then in 1889, the San Diego Cable Car Company organized using leftover assets from the ERT, including some of the cars and most of the rail network. One route ran north on 4th Street, east on University Avenue, and north on Park Boulevard to a turntable on Adams Avenue. In 1890, to boost rail ridership, the San Diego Cable Railway developed a 5-acre park known as the Bluffs at the end of the rail line at Park and Adams in University Heights. The park included landscape grounds and an attractive pavilion shown here, designed by architect William S. Hubbard, which stood just north of today's Mission Cliff Drive at North Court. However, due to a series of financial setbacks, the cable railway was also forced to shut down after just 13 months of operation. It fell into receivership until 1895, when it was bought by George Kerper of Cincinnati, Ohio, who reorganized the company into the Citizens Traction Company and electrified the line. Kerper began to restore the Bluffs and renamed it Mission Cliff Park. I was unable to find any historic photos of Mission Cliff Park, so this is actually a postcard of Mission Cliff Gardens, which came a little later. The Bluffs became the place to go on Sunday afternoons with a merry-go-round, children's playground, and a shooting gallery. Dancing parties were held in the pavilion, as well as vaudeville acts and theatrical productions, including San Diego's first outdoor production of William Shakespeare's As You Like It in 1897. Kerper also proposed to construct a cog railway from the park down to Mission Valley, where an electric-powered trolley would take sightseers to the ruins of Mission San Diego. However, Kerper's dreams never materialized because in 1898, during the height of a nationwide depression, his company also went into receivership. So, early history of San Diego was really characterized by a series of boom and bust cycles between the 1870s and 1890s that were primarily due to rumors of the transcontinental railroad connection and the associated real estate speculation. During the boom, population increased to 40,000 and dropped to 16,000 during the bust. During this time, several transit companies came into business and went out just as quickly, including the San Diego Streetcar Company, the San Diego Cable Railroad, the Electric Rapid Transit, and the Citizens Traction Company. In the late 1880s, John D. Spreckles, son of wealthy sugar king Klaus Spreckles, began investing in San Diego's infrastructure. In 1891, he formed the San Diego Electric Railway, bought and consolidated several of San Diego's failed or failing transportation lines, and began a process of massive expansion. By 1910, the San Diego Electric Railway would be the only remaining trolley operator in San Diego, covering over 200 miles of track from La Jolla to Chula Vista. The new San Diego Electric Railway routes extended into barren scrubland and paved the way for new neighborhoods, including Hillcrest, Mission Hills, North Park, and University Heights. That said, it was the San Diego Electric Railway Company that purchased the failed Citizens Traction Company from George Kerper in 1898. In addition to the tracks, rolling stock, and power plant, the company obtained 327 lots formerly held by the Citizens Traction Company in University Heights. The San Diego Electric Railway route followed the old cable railway route, entering UH at 4th and University, traveling east and then northeast along University Boulevard, today's Normal Street, and then north along Park Boulevard. After its purchase by the San Diego Electric Railway Company in 1898, the park was again renovated and renamed Mission Cliff Gardens. This aerial photo shows Mission Cliff Gardens looking north on North Avenue from the old lily pond, indicated by the red arrow, to the old normal school, indicated by the green arrow. John Spreckels wished to showcase the area as a botanical garden rather than an amusement park, and so proceeded to remove all the attractions and to concentrate on the pavilion and the grounds, which encompassed some 38 acres at its height in 1914. In 1904, Spreckels selected Scottish-born landscape gardener John Davidson as the park superintendent and asked him to redesign the park into a botanical wonder. Under Davidson, the once nearly barren park blossomed into a beautiful botanical garden, which drew thousands of tourists from all over the state. Davidson built a miniature Japanese garden, a walk-in bird aviary, and view pergolas or shelters along the rim of Mission Valley to provide views to the pastoral Mission Valley below. Dances and entertainment were held in the pavilion, and Sunday picnics at Mission Cliff Gardens became a great favorite with hundreds of San Diegans, as well as annual gatherings and picnics held by clubs and societies. King Gillette, famous for his razor business, donated many rare birds to the aviary so that by 1915, the aviary contained one of the largest and most varied collections of birds in the country. Also in 1915, the Spreckels brothers donated a beautiful outdoor pavilion, organ pavilion, to the people of San Diego for the 1915 Panama, California Exposition. The organ was originally intended for Mission Cliff Gardens, but was sent to Balboa Park instead. In short, Mission Cliff Gardens was really the Balboa Park of its day. Shown here is one of the San Diego Electric Railway streetcars at the entrance to Mission Cliff Gardens at Adams Avenue at North. In the late 1890s, San Diego officials believed that a normal school should be established to help the town grow and increase certification of teachers. The term normal refers to the goal of these institutions to instill and reinforce particular norms or societal values and ideologies within students. The first normal school is generally considered to be the École Normale in Champagne, France, founded in 1685 by Saint Jean-Baptiste de la Salle. The site of the aborted San Diego College of the Arts was donated to the state of California to build such a normal school, a state-sponsored teacher training college. So in 1898, the Normal School Board of Trustees selected the San Diego firm of Hebert and Gill to design the new building, which was created in the classic Beaux-Arts style. Ground was broken for construction on August 1st, 1898, and the building was dedicated on May 1st, 1899. During the building's construction, the first classes were held in November 1898 with 91 students and 17 faculty members in the building shown here at the southwest corner of 6th and F in downtown San Diego. Classes moved to the Grand Normal School in University Heights in May 1899, even as construction continued. This would have been the view of the normal school from Campus Avenue looking southeast. 135 students were enrolled by the end of the first year and grew to 400 by 1910. University Heights did not really start to develop until 1907, when the San Diego Electric Railway was extended east from Florida Street along Adams Avenue. Anticipating the potential for growth fueled by the extension, the University Heights Syndicate formed in 1902 to reorganize the development of University Heights. The company's first subdivision along the new trolley extension was Valle Vista Terrace, a tract of luxury homes on Panorama Drive, which provided magnificent views of Mission Valley and glimpses of the ocean. Shown here is a beautiful home built in 1907 for the syndicate's president, designed by master architects Irving Gill and William Hubbard. In 1904, John Spreckles invited Harvey Bentley to relocate his ostrich farm from Coronado to University Heights, adjacent to Mission Cliff Gardens. For an additional fee, visitors to the gardens could gaze upon a dozen or more ostriches around the farm. Fearless visitors could even ride the huge birds. On the utilitarian side, ostrich feathers were selling for a whopping $350 a pound, as they were in great demand for ladies' hats, boas, and stoles. Across the street from the ostrich farm was William Hinton's San Diego silk mill. Silk production was a thriving industry by the turn of the century. The silk mill building still stands today and has been adaptively reused over the years as a studio, restaurant, and coffee house. Also during this time, a lawsuit finally ended between Spreckles and one of his ex-partners, Elijah Babcock. The dispute was over the ownership and operation of the Southern California Mountain and Water Supply Company, which they had developed together in the 1890s. The suit was settled in the favor of Spreckles, who then supplied the city of San Diego with water. The water was stored in a reservoir in University Heights between El Cajon Boulevard and Howard Avenue, and the present tower, which dates from 1923, still stands today. In 1912, the city purchased most of the reservoirs and water distribution system of the Southern California Water Company from Spreckles, which gave the city a municipally owned and operated water supply system, quote, from mountain to meter. This produced still another building boom in San Diego, including a number of large apartment blocks in University Heights. In 1910, the San Diego Chamber of Commerce proposed an exposition in Balboa Park to advertise the remarkable growth that San Diego was experiencing and its potential for investment as the first American port of call on the West Coast for ships traveling through the proposed Panama Canal. After the announcement of the proposed exposition, San Diego experienced a large-scale increase in home, hotel, and apartment construction. A number of structures along Adams Avenue and Park Boulevard were built during this time, including the Mission Cliff Apartments, the Weirtz Apartments, which are shown above, and a line of trolley-oriented businesses clustered along the length of the trolley tracks on Park Boulevard. You may want to note next time you walk by the building, the initials FW up at the very top of the building for Frank, which stands for Frank Weirtz, the original owner of the Weirtz Apartments. In 1910, the Teachers Training Annex was built adjacent to the normal school to train future teachers in classroom procedures under real-life conditions. The building was designed by Nathan Ellery and George C. Sellon in the Italian Renaissance style and still stands today. In 1914, of the 136 students enrolled for the school year, 17 were from California counties outside San Diego, and 26 were from other states. In 1913, a massive trolley car barn was built on Adams Avenue on the property adjoining the Bentley Ostrich Farm. The cavernous reinforced brick building was used to store and perform minor service to several hundred trolleys, which would enter and exit through a series of switches off of Florida Street. After the trolleys ceased running in 1949, the car barn was sold to the San Diego Paper Box Company, and in 1979, the building was sold and demolished to make way for a condominium project. Due to the popularity of Balboa Park after the 1915 Panama, California Exposition and the development of Mission Beach by Spreckles in the 1920s, the popularity of Mission Cliff Gardens diminished as a local attraction. The final blow was the death of Spreckles in 1926. The gardens were closed in 1930 and relegated as a physical, non-operating property. Park Superintendent John Davidson was allowed to live in the pavilion, but as the railway company cut down on water expenses, most of the flowers and small plants died. The only remaining plants now are the tall canary palms north of the intersection of Park and Adams. After Davidson's death in 1935, the gardens deteriorated, and so in 1942, the property was developed by the Spreckels interests into a housing tract in response to the critical need for housing in wartime San Diego. Meanwhile, in 1921, the normal school gained new stature by becoming the San Diego State Teachers College. With this ranking, the college could now grant certificates and degrees. Up until this time, the school had graduated 1,500 teachers, educated many San Diego children at its training school, and helped to expand the economic and cultural development of the city. During this time, the San Diego Junior College also became part of the normal school until 1947, when it became independent. In 1922, a smaller period revival building was constructed for use as the San Diego Normal School drafting classroom and men's locker room. The two-story building has design features similar to those of the Teachers Training Annex and still stands today. As enrollment at the normal school grew, the student body began to outgrow the facilities, which were built for a maximum of 600 students. In June 1928, the Bell Lloyd Investment Company offered 125 acres on Montezuma Mesa for new facilities for the San Diego State Teachers College. Before the new site could be built, San Diego voters had to approve purchase of the old site, which it did overwhelmingly on May 15, 1928. The first classes were held at the Montezuma Mesa site in February 1931 and consisted of 1,220 students. However, after the normal school moved to Montezuma Mesa, the buildings on the normal school site continued to be used for educational purposes, and new ones were constructed. Horace Mann Junior High School moved into the old normal school building, and Alice Birney School moved into the old Teachers Training Annex. In 1936, the Alice Birney Kindergarten building, Annex 2, was constructed with Works Progress Administration funds. Two other buildings were also constructed in 1936 to support Horace Mann Junior High School, including the Domestic Science Hall and Band Room, Annex 3, designed by master architect William Wheeler, and the Girls' Shower Room, Annex 5. In 1940, the Teachers' Cafeteria Building, Annex 8, was constructed also to support Horace Mann Junior High School. All four buildings still stand today. The end of World War II brought more population to San Diego and more changes to the normal school site. In the 1950s, the normal school site was acquired by the State Board of Education, and the next year, the new Alice Birney Elementary School was completed at its present location on Campus Avenue at Meade. Also in 1951, Horace Mann Junior High School relocated off-site. And in 1953, San Diego City Schools built the new Eugene Brecker Education Center on the south lawns of the old normal school. So for a brief period in the early 1950s, the modern Eugene Brecker Education Center sat adjacent to the historic complex of buildings, creating a brief snapshot of San Diego's educational, social, and architectural history from the turn of the century to the modern period. The red arrow points to the new Eugene Brecker Education Building, the green arrow to the old normal school, and the yellow building, and the yellow arrow to the old Teachers Training Annex. By 1955, however, the monumental normal school building had been demolished by San Diego City Schools because of safety issues and a lack of compliance with fire and building codes, primarily because the building's auditorium was located on the second floor. In addition to the historic buildings on the Normal School site, Save Our Heritage organization, in collaboration with cultural landscape specialist Vaughn Marie May, have identified several possible heritage trees on the Normal School site, including one massive eucalyptus tree on Campus Avenue, which may date from the Normal School development of 1898. Sadly, the school district removed this tree in 2019, citing safety reasons. Other possibly heritage trees on the site included the one large oak tree in front of Annex 3, possibly from the Normal School development of 1898, as well as several palm trees located in the right-of-way along Normal Street and Campus Avenue. Other possible heritage trees include a large ficus tree at the corner of Normal Street and Campus Avenue, which are likely from the later mid-century development of Horace Mann Junior High School and Alice Burney Elementary School. This tree may also be associated with Jane Minshall, San Diego's first female landscape architect. Several Canary Island pines, also from the later mid-century development of Horace Mann Junior High School and the Alice Burney Elementary School, are associated with Jane Minshall. And lastly, there are several olive trees that are also likely from the later mid-century development of Horace Mann Junior High School and the Alice Burney Elementary Schools, and possibly associated with Jane Minshall. So a little more than 100 years after its founding, the University Heights community started coming together to preserve, protect, and adaptively reuse what's left of its significant history. While several significant landmarks have already been lost, including the magnificent Mission Cliff Gardens, the lovely Pavilion at the Bluffs, the Grand Normal School, and the massive Trolley Barn, there is still much that remains. Beginning in 1991, the University Heights Community Association formed to save and adaptively reuse the 8.5-acre site of the former Trolley Barn Park, which we know and love today as Trolley Barn Park. The site was historically designated in 1998 by Alex Bevel on behalf of the University Heights Historical Society. In 1997, Alex Bevel also obtained historic designation of the remaining vestiges of Mission Cliff Gardens, including the former entrance to the gardens on Adams Avenue at North, including the Redwood Gate and some of the palm trees, the cobblestone wall that stretches along Adams Avenue from Park Boulevard to its dead end just past Mission Cliff Drive, the cobblestone wall surrounding the former lily pond on Mission Cliff Drive at North Court, the former entrance to the Ostrich farm at Park Boulevard and Adams Avenue, which includes the Redwood Gate and the cobblestone piers. And lastly, the cobblestone remains of a drinking fountain, which was once part of an ornate waiting station for the number 11 trolley. In 1999, the Teachers Training Annex was placed on the National Register of Historic Places through the efforts of Alex Bevel on behalf of the University Heights Historical Society. In 2013, the University Heights Water Storage and Pumping Station was also listed on the National Register of Historic Places thanks to the efforts of Alex Bevel on behalf of the North Park Historical Society. Starting in the year 2000, 4 historic districts were approved in University Heights by the City of San Diego, reflecting different periods of development in University Heights. For more information, please check out our website under the Preservation tab. In addition to the over 150 homes designated as part of historic districts in University Heights, a variety of individual owners have obtained historic designation for their homes through the City of San Diego. Researching your historic home can be a fun and rewarding process, and historic designation can save money on property taxes through the Mills Act. This map may also be viewed on our website under the Preservation tab. And just this year in 2020, the University Heights Historical Society was revitalized, starting with a new website which offers a variety of information about our community's history, including a blog, videos, fact sheets, interactive maps of historic districts, landmarks, and homes, and guided and self-guided walking tours of University Heights, including our new online self-guided walking tour of the normal school site on our website under the Events tab. So, since the early 1990s, our community has come together again and again to protect and preserve the landmarks from our very historic past. While several of our most significant landmarks have been lost, we have a one-time opportunity today to preserve at least some of the historic buildings and the heritage trees of the normal school site, perhaps our last and most important historic site. The normal school site is not only of local importance, but of regional importance to all of San Diego for its role in the educational, social, and economic development of San Diego. In December 2019, the San Diego Unified School District Board of Education decided to move its administrative offices off the normal school site and redevelop the entire 11-acre site to include affordable housing for teachers and staff. The Community Coalition of University Heights, including the University Heights Historical Society, has worked closely with the school district since 2018 to preserve as many of the historic buildings and heritage trees as possible, and also include joint uses on the site, including parks and open space for people and pets. I invite you to visit our website and at the URL above and read up more on the normal school site. And we look forward to serving you in the future. Thanks again for your time, and we'll be in touch.